Hello and welcome to Awesome Bundesliga Match Day 21. Only 1 week to see Leverkusen and Bayern Munich. Still both teams winning. Ronan Murphy, hello.
Hello, how are you?
All good, and you?
Oh, very good, very good. I'm enjoying the DFB Pokal being back in midweek. So it's another English week in Germany. It's this week, one after another this year. But long may the matches keep going.
Well, indeed, here we are going to analyze the games we have in the Bundesliga, especially is very interesting, Dortmund, Stuttgart or Wolfsburg, Bayer Leverkusen. So, guys, stay with us, of course. Post your tips and press the like and subscribe. And now let's go on with the show. And the first game we are going to analyze is on Friday. Is going to be Bayern Munich, Werder Bremen. Since Bayern are playing in the Champions League against Celtic, they have to play on Friday in the Bundesliga. They keep winning and winning. Is 6 consecutive Bundesliga wins. Last one 4-3 against Kiel. Werder Bremen are very close to Europe, but their level is far away from Bayern Munich. We saw in the reverse fixture 0-5 for Bayern.
Yeah, it was a big win for Bayern earlier in the season, but in previous years, it's all the last 8 years. That's been kind of the story. There was 11 wins for Bayern and 1 for Bremen in the last 8 years, and the one win for Bremen was actually last season in this match. It was 1-0 for Bremen away at Bayern. So Bayern will be determined not to let that happen again. So yeah, Harry Kane has been on fire again for Bayern Munich. We mentioned him a few weeks ago that most of his goals were coming from the penalty spot, but that has kind of ended since, and now he's up to 54 Bundesliga goals in 50 Bundesliga games, which is the best ever start of any striker in Bundesliga history. So yeah, Erling Haaland, your time is no more in the Bundesliga record books. It's Harry Kane's time. So yeah, this match should be another kind of entertaining one, and 𝐋𝐞𝐿 is saying that both teams scoring over 2.5 goals. Does look pretty good, because I think this will be another high scoring affair. Obviously, Bremen have brought in Andre Silva on from Leipzig in the transfer window before it closed, but don't expect him to maybe start yet, or maybe don't expect him to get too many goals, because he has not had the greatest season at Leipzig. 1 goal in 15 games, but most of those were off the bench, so that's only 305 minutes. So he'll need to kind of get up to speed before I think he can become a key part of Bremen's attack. So they'll have to look elsewhere for goals, but this should be an open enough match, because Bayern Munich have scored 3 or more match goals, or had 3 or more total goals in each of their last 4 Bundesliga games. Bremen have conceded 2 or more goals in 4 of the 5 games they played in 2025. So should be lots of goals in this one. Bayern over 3.5 goals, I like the look of. You have to go with that kind of amount of goals to get any value on Bayern. But like you said, to start this off, it was 5-0 earlier this season, so you couldn't rule it out again. But probably safer than that is to go with just total goals over 4 for this match, because maybe Bremen could go around the score sheet like our commenters are saying, and then 190 seems a bit better value there.
Okay, goals and goals. Also, Bam is going for both teams to score an over 2.5 goals, and Messi is trusting somehow Werder Bremen with Asian handicap plus 2.5. So to win the bet, they have to not lose for more than 2 goals. Well, really difficult to get some value from this game. One of the most interesting games we have in this weekend is Dortmund Stuttgart. Dortmund, they got finally back-to-back wins, counting also the Champions League game with Shakhtar, and they won away against Heidenheim. They are also involved. Remember, in the Champions League, they are playing Sporting, and they are 3 points away from Stuttgart. So this game is key if they want to qualify next season for the Champions League. Stuttgart, Ronan, lost to Gladbach, and also they said goodbye to the Champions League. So let's see if they have better numbers in this second part of the season.
Yeah, they should have fewer games. Obviously, they've gone through in the Cup on Tuesday night, but they should have fewer games and no Champions League games to play, and that should help their squad, because, as we know, their squad wasn't hugely deep, because they lost a lot of players in the summer. It's Stuttgart, so they didn't sign loads of players, but yeah, they won't need the same depth for the second half of the season, and that should help them. And Dortmund, they're obviously on a good run, like you mentioned. Mike 𝗀𝗏𝗏, he ended his stint as caretaker manager pretty good. I think he'd be happy with how he got on there. The celebrations that he put in were kind of very entertaining, much to the dismay of some Bayern Munich fans, and Borussia Dortmund fans were kind of going at each other because of it. But yeah, the Mike 𝗀𝗏𝗏 era is over, and the 𝐿𝐿𝐴 era officially begins this weekend at Stuttgart. He had a 41% winning record at Frankfurt. That went way up at Bayern Munich, as you would expect it to, 69%. But the last time he was in the Bundesliga, he was at Wolfsburg, and that didn't go to plan for him, 34% winning percentage. So he'd be hoping for a bit closer to Bayern Munich than Wolfsburg at Borussia Dortmund. And this is a tricky enough game for him to start things off at, because Stuttgart are capable of beating any team on their day, and we'll see whether the new signings that either team made will kind of fit in. And Borussia Dortmund kind of were busy as the window closed, and Stuttgart as well. They got in a couple of young defenders that I like the look of. They spent 9.5 million on Finn Jeltsch from Nuremberg. He's never played in the Bundesliga before, obviously. They've brought in a centre-back from Switzerland, 𝐬𝐭𝐚𝐲. They brought in him, so he should be an interesting one for the future. But this is a long-term kind of plan for Stuttgart. I'm not sure if they're going to help them immediately. So Stuttgart, they will concede goals in this match against Borussia Dortmund. Borussia Dortmund will probably concede goals against Stuttgart. So both teams to score, like 𝐿𝐴 is saying again, is another great option. 1.52. Both teams to score, yes, has happened in 73% of games for Dortmund so far this season, 63% for Stuttgart. The last 11 games these sides have played against each other, it's been pretty even, 5 wins apiece and then a draw. Stuttgart won 5-1 in this game in September. I don't think that's going to happen again, but I don't think you can say for definite that 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴 is going to start off with a win in 2025 as Borussia Dortmund manager. So you have to look elsewhere, perhaps, for a bit more value than the both teams to score yes bet. I like 𝗀𝗏𝗏 in this match. He's 6 goals already in 2025. He has the best minutes to goal involvement ratio in the Champions League as well this season, a goal or assist every 51 minutes. So he's 9 goals and 2 assists in the Champions League already this season. So he is kind of on fire for Borussia Dortmund, and he can keep scoring, and 𝐿𝐴𝐿𝐴 will need him to be scoring. So Serhou 𝗀𝗏𝗏, anytime goal scorer, 255 looks really good. I like to look at that one.
Okay, goals are always it's always a good idea, of course, when you are betting in the Bundesliga. Next game is Freiburg Heidenheim. Kind of good odds to back Freiburg. They were able to beat Bochum as we expected in our last video, despite their bad streak. And Heidenheim right now, they are 4 points away from Hoffenheim, so things are getting more complicated. 3 consecutive defeats and still playing European competitions. They are playing Copenhagen.
Yeah, it could be another long season for Heidenheim. It makes things difficult, the fact that they have so many games. They're kind of struggling to keep up with the depth that is needed to play that many games. They're not used to it the first season in Europe, so they're definitely not used to it. 3 defeats in a row in like you said, is not good, and their only win this year since January has been a win over Union Berlin. So it's not that they've been putting in kind of brilliant performances and keeping things tight. They've been kind of disappointing since the turn of the year. And this match is one that hasn't really happened because Heidenheim haven't been a top flight team. So it's only happened 3 times in recent seasons, 1 win each and a draw. Freiburg has had 2 wins and 3 defeats in 2025. But if you look at those 3 defeats, the teams that they faced were quite difficult teams: Frankfurt, Stuttgart and Bayern, whereas they beat Kiel and Bochum. And if you had to kind of put Heidenheim on a similar level to any of those opponents, it would be more likely Kiel and Bochum than Stuttgart and Bayern Munich. So you have to look at, like you said, Freiburg to win looks pretty good as an option here, 178. This could be a low-scoring game, I think, as well. Most games in the Bundesliga are high-scoring, but I don't think so. For fun, their average goals for Freiburg is 1.4 goals per game. Average for Heidenheim is 1.3. So total goals under 2.75 at 190 could be an option. But combining that Freiburg win and low goals, you can get value at over 2 to go for Freiburg to win and under 4.5 total match goals in this game. That's 205. I think that could be a good option. 𝐻𝐸𝐴𝐧𝐧𝐷 is also back in under corners, and that's probably a good one here because I don't think there's going to be too many goal scoring or clear goal scoring opportunities that the goalkeepers are going to have to save. So yeah, it could be a good option.
Okay, boring win for Freiburg. Hello to Cali, one of the capitals of salsa, Cali. Next game is Mainz Augsburg. Mainz lost to Werder Bremen at the weekend, so it's 3 defeats in the last 4, beating Stuttgart only in this time, but still in European spots. Augsburg are kind of dangerous right now. Drew with St Pauli and won the previous 3, so very comfortable end of the season again for Augsburg, because it looks like they are not going to fight for Europe. They are not going to struggle to stay in the Bundesliga once again.
Yeah, I don't think their fans are going to be too disappointed with that. Staying away from a relegation battle is a good season for Augsburg, and maybe not knocking on the door of Europe, but being comfortable in mid-table. I think as an Augsburg fan, you will be happy enough with that. And I'm very surprised that the odds for Augsburg to win this match are 480, because Mainz have been so inconsistent 2025. Win, loss, win, loss. So, and one of the wins was against Stuttgart, and one of the defeats was against Union Berlin. So it doesn't really, the matches they played don't really make sense so far. Augsburg, on the other hand, they're unbeaten in the league since the first game of the year, where they got defeated by Stuttgart. They've had 3 wins and a draw, so they're in great form, tremendous form. So that 480 is very appealing to me at the moment. I also like the look of their forward, Samuel Asende. He's got 5 goals already this season in the Bundesliga. He's averaging 2.21 shots per game, or per 90 minutes, I should say. Shot accuracy is 37%, and 86% of his shots, I think it's 24 or 27 shots he's taken, have been inside the box. So should at least one of those get on target. It could be a good one to go with. Samuel Asende, over a half a shot on target, is 162. Could be an option here. We had a look at 𝐿𝐭𝐴𝐴𝐻 last week, and he, as predicted, was on free kicks in that Bayern game. So hoping for something similar from Asende, is just to get in the box and take a shot. And if it goes in, it goes in. If it doesn't, as long as the keeper saves it, you win a bit of money. So yeah, Augsburg win, like I said, is pretty good. But 480, if you want to play it a bit safer, Augsburg double chance, it's probably the way to go on this one, 206.
Namjal is asking us which app or websites are we using to analyze the games. Oddspedia, you can see up here and up there. We use Oddspedia to analyze the games. Next game is a really good one. Wolfsburg Leverkusen, tricky game for Leverkusen facing Cologne in the cup. Luckily for them, they are not involved in the Champions League in February, so they can rest and think also in the game they have against Bayern Munich. But before, Ronan, can you see trouble in this trip to Wolfsburg for Leverkusen?
Maybe if the Wolfsburg had their first choice keeper, but 𝐵amil is out for longer than expected. He was injured against Frankfurt. He had to go off. The news doesn't look as positive as they were hoping, so he could be out for a few weeks. Marius Muller came off the bench in that game for the last kind of quarter of the match, and he made his Bundesliga debut. He's 31 to make his Bundesliga debut, so he's waited a long time for this. He's played a lot in the second division, and he's played in other leagues as well, but he even played in Europe with Leipzig back in 2018, 2019, but he's never made a Bundesliga start before, and that's what he'll have to do this weekend, and it's against Bayer Leverkusen. So it's not the greatest place to make your first start in the Bundesliga, is to be playing at home against Bayer Leverkusen, because Bayer Leverkusen are a team who score lots of goals, and Patrick Schick has been among those goals, as we predicted last week. Even though he didn't start, he still got off the bench and he scored. Boniface started after all that transfer kind of speculation around him, that possible move to Saudi Arabia that fell through, and obviously hasn't distracted him. So Bayer Leverkusen are a team with 2 strikers capable of scoring against anybody. So Patrick Schick himself is the best minutes to goal ratio of any striker with 10 or more goals in the Big 5 leagues. He's scoring a goal every 59 minutes he's on the pitch. Harry Kane is second at 76, and Matteo Retegui from from Serie A is third on 77 goal every 77 minutes. So Patrick Schick is going to get goals. If he doesn't start, it doesn't matter. Victor Boniface is going to get some goals. The only kind of problem for Leverkusen is 𝐷𝗀𝗏𝗏 will be suspended for this one after his red card against Hoffenheim. But Wolfsburg in the past against Leverkusen, not great. They haven't won any of the last 6 meetings between these two teams. Leverkusen won 2-1 away and 2-0 at home last season. And if you remember, earlier this season, it was a thriller. 4-3 in September. So both teams to score yeses after coming up there. So that is a pretty good one, considering Wolfsburg have had both teams to score yes in each of their last 4 games. Leverkusen have had both teams to score yes in 4 out of 5 games this year. So the most common result here is 2-1 to Leverkusen, both teams to score yes. Average goals in this one is another one that you have to look at. It's 2.2 versus 2.5. So these are teams who score lots of goals. So over 2.75 goals. 182 was a pretty good one. But Leverkusen, they've only lost once this season in the Champions League, that 2-1 against Atletico. Then we talked about that previously. They weren't able for the mind games and black magic that Diego Simeone brings to games. They weren't able for that. So they play obviously against Cologne in the cup, so that I don't think that's going to be a defeat in that local rivalry game either. So they'll only have 1 defeat in 2025 going into this match. So I'm very confident of a Leverkusen win at 185.
Well, in our page in Oddspedia, we have betting stats in the Bundesliga, and we have a fire next to Bayer Leverkusen and Wolfsburg, meaning that it's very likely that this game ends in both teams to score. There you go. You can see how Leverkusen is the best team in both teams to score, and Wolfsburg is the third. Therefore, there is a high chance to see both teams to score, according to our tool, Hot Bets, average of 83%. So the odds are higher than the percentage, actually. 1.64 looks kind of good for a bet that could be almost as a safe bet, Leverkusen to win and both teams to score for Leo, and also 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 is in goals, and the same for Chris. Well, Union Berlin, usually we don't see many goals in their games, is their motto. So Hoffenheim Union Berlin is our next game. Hoffenheim is still in a difficult position. They lost to Leverkusen, but before that they had improved with a draw against Frankfurt, with a win against Kiel. Usually high scoring games for Hoffenheim. As I said, Ronan, for Union Berlin is kind of the opposite. We saw a goalless draw against RB Leipzig, but also they can be happy, I guess, with a 7 points distance now with the bottom 3.
Yeah, if they keep drawing every game 0-0, they'll be safe by the end of the season. That's probably the way to go, because they just can't score at the moment. They paid 4.5 million to sign a forward from the Austrian Bundesliga at the weekend. Marian 𝗀𝗵𝐺 is after coming in, and his goal scoring record this season for LASK, LASK Linz or whatever, is 5 goals in 26 games. So they've brought in a forward who can score, doesn't really score regularly. So I don't think Union Berlin scoring 0 in matches is going to change too much with that signing. Both teams won away to 0 last season. I don't think it's going to happen this season, this season that Union Berlin will beat Hoffenheim to 0. But yeah, Union have a tradition of not scoring in 2025. They kept that up with that 0-0 against Leipzig. Like you said, they've not scored in 4 of 5 games they've played in 2025. That was happening back last year. It's happening again this year. They're just not scoring goals. And Hoffenheim, like you said, are a team who are scoring goals at the moment. They've scored 2 or more goals in 4 of their last 5 games. And the only one that they didn't score 2 or more goals in, they did score in, it was against Leverkusen last weekend. And that's Leverkusen. So it's a much more difficult opponent than Union Berlin. So I'm confident Hoffenheim are going to win this match. I would have a look at Hoffenheim to win to 0 in this match, because it's Union Berlin, and Union Berlin do not score, and Hoffenheim to win to 0 is 4-10. But like Leo Messi is saying, Union Berlin is bad away from home. Hoffenheim to win, just overall looks even better value, 2.23.
Okay, indeed. Hoffenheim to win, Hoffenheim to score, and 1x. Igor also Hoffenheim to win. And the late kickoff on Saturday is Gladbach, Eintracht Frankfurt, no Marmoush, and draws against Wolfsburg and Hoffenheim is still in a very good position in the Bundesliga, 6 points clear from Stuttgart in the top 8 in the Europa League, and Gladbach 7th with wins against Stuttgart and Bochum. This is a tough game for Eintracht Frankfurt.
It is, yeah. It's a tough game for both teams. I think looking at the table, these are two quite evenly matched teams, and Frankfurt's position in the table is helped a lot by all those goals from Marmoush, which aren't going to happen anymore. But luckily, they've signed 𝗵𝐵chy, a absolute legend of the game. I think it's his 9th or 10th club of his career already. So yeah, he's been around and he's scored goals in plenty places, but he has scored in the Bundesliga before. Not sure he'll be up to speed in this one, but Frankfurt still have plenty of strike power. We've mentioned 𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿𝐿 before. 𝐬𝐿𝐴𝐺𝐺 has come in as well. So they have plenty of options and plenty of places where to get goals. So this match, I'm hoping for an entertaining match, but I'm not 100% sure that it's definitely going to be a high-scoring affair, because it could be one of these nervy ones, and it's hard to separate these two sides. Frankfurt are kind of suffered a blow with Robin Koch. He's out for 4 weeks with a shoulder injury, so that's not a good one for them. Gladbach, they've kind of turned things around recently. Started the year with 3 defeats, but they've beaten Bochum and Stuttgart in recent weeks. Gladbach they're 6th in the home table, which is very impressive. They have as many wins as Frankfurt, who are 3rd in the home table. They both have 6 wins, but Gladbach don't have as many draws. And Frankfurt have been excellent on the road this season. They're 4th in the away table. They have 5 wins from 10 games in away matches this season. Their 3 away defeats so far have been against teams that you'd probably expect them to lose to away: Dortmund, Leverkusen and Leipzig. So they have been excellent away. They've been pretty good at home. So it's very hard to separate these teams. The draw could be an option, 3.99 I see on the screen, but the most common result is a 1-1. It's also most common result when Gladbach are at home is a 1-1. So correct score, 1-1 could be an option, 8.50, but probably safest of all is Frankfurt draw no bet, 1.95.
All right. Also, 𝐬𝐵chy actually agrees with you a lot. Frankfurt double chance for him, or both teams to score. So a 1-1 would be a good result. And games on Sunday, the scary game of the weekend is Kiel Bochum. Probably not last chance, because Heidenheim are also very poor, but almost for both teams, the 2 worst teams in this Bundesliga. For Kiel, at least the last win was at home against Dortmund. It's so difficult not to back any of these teams, to be honest. In these games, we usually go for the draw, and many times we are correct.
Yeah, 3.81 on the draw doesn't look too bad. And yeah, these are 2 teams that have not been very good in the Bundesliga. They have 12 points each. It's 17th versus 18th. They have the exact same record, 3 wins and 3 draws and 14 defeats each. So they both can't go to 15 defeats this weekend. That's the only positive perhaps in this one. But yeah, Kiel have been better in front of goal. They've scored 31 goals. Bochum have just scored 18 goals in those matches so far, those 20 matches. So they're averaging less than a goal per game. Kiel have conceded a lot more than a goal a game. It's 52 goals they've conceded already this season, and Bochum have conceded 43. So the thing with Kiel, when you watch them, you can expect perhaps a more entertaining match, but they're playing Bochum, so expect a non-entertaining match. So yeah, this one, it's hard to say exactly what's going to happen here, but you have to sometimes favor the home team. Kiel have obviously beaten Dortmund already this season, 4-2. They scored 3 goals against Bayern last weekend, so they are capable of scoring against better teams than them. So they should be capable of scoring against the teams that are just as bad as them on paper. So Bochum 2 defeats in a row to 0. They've failed to score in 3 of the games they've already played in 2025. So Holstein Kiel win is 2.40, like it's saying on the screen. But like I said, Bochum are averaging 0.9 goals per game and Kiel 1.6. I'm going to go and place a risky bet in this one and go for Holstein Kiel clean sheet 4. So maybe they won't win, but Bochum won't score. That's what we're going.
Terrible game, this one. Kiel double chance for Messi. Holstein Kiel to score and 1x for 𝐬𝐵chy. And the last game is RB Leipzig, St Pauli. Now St Pauli, with a healthy distance from the bottom 3, they are 7 points away. So it looks like they are going to stay in the Bundesliga. For Leipzig, they keep dropping points against Union Berlin. They drew with Leverkusen, so it's winless in the last 4 games. They have to react to qualify next season for the Champions League.
Yeah, this is a kind of big moment in Leipzig's season because obviously the Champions League dream is over and they need to keep next year's Champions League dream intact, especially after spending so much money on Xavi Simons. They made him the most expensive non-Bayern Munich transfer in Bundesliga history. Yeah, that's what we have to qualify it as. It's the third highest transfer in Bundesliga history, but Bayern Munich obviously have the top two, Lucas Hernandez and Harry Kane. But yeah, they've broken the non-Bayern record for the Bundesliga, which was Julian Draxler many years ago to Wolfsburg. So yeah, 50 million their initial outlay is on Xavi Simons, and it could possibly rise to 80 million, but I wouldn't expect that to happen at all. I don't think they'll pay those 30 million in bonuses because I would be very surprised if he's there next summer. This seems to be a move that is kind of catered to for PSG to get a loan off their books, to get some money through the door, and when RB Leipzig sell Xavi Simons in the summer, for both Leipzig and PSG to profit from. So, despite them spending 50 million on a player, possibly 80 million on a player, this is not Leipzig saying, we are here to battle with Bayern Munich. This is Leipzig making money because that's what they do. So, don't think that Leipzig are going to change the Bundesliga or shake up the Bundesliga after this signing. I'd be very surprised if he's there next summer. And looking at his contract as well, he's only signed a 2.5-year contract. How would you spend 50 million on a player and then not give him a Chelsea 10-year deal like everywhere else? So, yeah, Xavi Simons should be crucial for Leipzig in the second half of the season, like we've been saying. He's been kind of getting up to speed after coming back from injury. We know he can be brilliant, but if he wants to put himself in the shop window and get a team like a Barcelona or whoever, maybe they can't afford him. Obviously, we have to pull a few more levers, but yeah, but a team of that kind of level of player, a level of team, he'll have to end the season very well for Leipzig to make money on him because they need to sell him for at least 60 million in the summer to kind of make a profit. So yeah, expect Leipzig to improve, expect Xavi Simons to be kind of a driving force of them. Playing against St Pauli is obviously a really kind of good game for Leipzig to turn things around. They've only had the only meetings between the two sides are this season because Pauli weren't in the Bundesliga and Leipzig haven't been around that long. So it was 0-0 in the league in September, but the following month Leipzig put 4 past St Pauli in the cup. They won 4-2. So it wouldn't be surprised if Leipzig scored a few goals here. Leipzig, obviously, like you said, they haven't been good in the last 2 games without scoring, but they need that to turn that around and then into the fast. And St Pauli's goals against is pretty low, so I mean, will be hard to kind of break down their defence. That's the way they play. They've 22 goals against, but they've only scored 18 goals, so they don't tend to play too much entertaining games. So I think it could be a low enough scoring affair, but I expect RB Leipzig to win it. And hopefully they can get a goal in the first half. They're scoring more goals in the first half, 0.9 in the first half, 0.8 in the second half. So RB Leipzig to win the first half, 220 could be the option here, or else home for RB Leipzig to win the first half, and St Pauli probably not to score at all.
Okay, Psycho is flagging Leipzig 2-0, for instance, at exact score, so it will match Leipzig to win and over 1.5 goals from Penchev or Messi, Leipzig to win and under 4.5 goals, or your bet as well, Leipzig halftime, Leipzig full time. So guys, if you know or if you think you know what is going to happen in this game or in the Bundesliga, you can participate in our tipster competitions. There you go, and you can win some cash prizes. We've just started the month of February, so it's as easy as Daniel is showing us how to post your tips and participate. Is absolutely for free. And also we have Rivals, where you can create your own customized competition and play with your friends or join a new one. Well, new one or already created one from our users. There you go. There is a lot of competitions created. Ronan Murphy, your safe bet?
My safe bet is not in the Copa del Rey. Someone's asked me to predict that. So I won't go out on a limb and bet on any Spanish teams. But this week in the Bundesliga, my safe bet is Hoffenheim Asian handicap +0.5.
I'm fearing the game they were mentioning, Leganés, Real Madrid. I see a trap for Real Madrid in Butarque. And the ACCA?
In my ACCA, I've gone to double down on Hoffenheim. Hoffenheim win and Leverkusen win for a total of 4.13.
It's a high one, only for a double. Well, Ronan, thank you. See you very soon. Bye-bye.